Hello, you are on the Lisa or Lena diary. While you choose the images of whether you prefer Lisa or Lena, I'm going to share my diary with you. My best friend betrayed me. Dear diary. Today was one of those days that I will never forget, but unfortunately, not for the reasons I'd like. I'm still trying to understand what happened, but it feels like the ground has been pulled out from under me once again. As if my parents' separation wasn't enough, now I'm dealing with another pain, one I never imagined I would feel, the betrayal of my best friend. It all started a few weeks ago when I began to notice that my best friend, Anna, was acting differently towards me. We had been inseparable since the beginning of elementary school. We spent hours on the phone, shared secrets, laughed at the silliest things, and made plans for the future. She was the person I knew I could count on, no matter what happened. But recently, things started to change. She became more distant, spent more time with other people, and always seemed to have an excuse not to hang out together. At first, I thought it was just a phase, maybe she was busy or dealing with something I didn't know about. But as time went on, I felt more and more that something was wrong. One day, I finally gathered the courage to ask what was going on. I wanted to believe it was just my imagination, that I was overreacting. But when I asked, she just gave me a strange smile and said everything was fine. Still, my heart told me that something was very wrong. It was only when I heard some rumors at school that the truth began to come out. A mutual friend told me that Anna had been talking about me to other people, things that were personal and that I had told her in confidence. She was sharing secrets I would never have told anyone else, and worse, she was twisting them to make me look silly or ridiculous. My heart ached when I heard this, and at first, I didn't want to believe it. How could she do this to me? Then, something even worse happened. During recess, I was sitting alone in the courtyard, trying to process all of this, when I heard Anna talking with some other girls. They were laughing, and when I listened closely, I realized they were laughing at me. Anna was repeating one of the things I had told her, a secret about my parents that I could barely admit to myself, and now she was using it as a joke. At that moment, it felt like the world around me had stopped. I wanted to run, scream, cry, but I was so shocked that I couldn't do anything but stand there, listening and feeling my heart break. I had never felt so betrayed in my life. After that day, I started to avoid Anna. I couldn't look at her without feeling a mix of anger and sadness. She tried to reach out to me a few times, sent messages asking what was going on, but I just couldn't bring myself to respond. How could I explain to her how hurt I was, how betrayed I felt? A part of me wanted to confront her, ask why she did this, but another part of me was afraid of hearing the truth. Did our friendship mean so little to her? Did everything we went through together not matter? I didn't know what to think, I just knew I felt alone and lost. These last few days have been especially hard. I miss the friendship we had, but I also know I can't just ignore what happened. Every time I see Anna at school, I feel a lump in my throat and a pain in my chest. I know I need to make a decision about what to do next, but I don't know if I'm ready for that. Losing a friend, especially one so close, is like losing a part of myself. I'm trying to be strong, but the truth is, I'm falling apart inside. I've been trying to distract myself, spending more time with other friends, and focusing on my activities, but the pain just doesn't go away. No matter how many times I try to push these memories away, they always come back, especially at the most unexpected moments. Sometimes, during class, while the teacher is explaining something I should be paying attention to, my mind wanders to what happened. I find myself replaying the conversations I had with Anna, analyzing every detail, every word, trying to understand where everything went wrong. I keep wondering if there was a sign I should have noticed earlier, something that could have prepared me for this betrayal, but I can't find anything. When I'm alone, the thoughts about what happened flood my mind, and I feel the tears coming. It's like a wave of sadness crashes over me, leaving me breathless and without the strength to fight against it. I try to focus on other things, on the happy moments we shared, but even those memories are now tainted by the pain. I remember when we would spend hours laughing at silly jokes, when we dreamed together about the future, and it only makes everything harder to bear. It feels like the person I knew, the one I trusted more than anyone else, has disappeared, leaving behind someone I barely recognize. Sometimes, I try to rationalize what happened, telling myself that maybe I did something wrong, that somehow I contributed to this situation. Did I say something that hurt her? Did I fail to notice something important to her? These questions haunt me, and the lack of answers only increases my frustration. I know I shouldn't blame myself, but it's hard not to when everything feels so confusing and painful. I feel like I'm walking in circles, not knowing how to escape this maze of emotions. I try not to let this affect the rest of my life, but it's difficult. Every time I see Anna at school, the pain comes back full force. It's like the wound is reopened every time, making it impossible to heal. I try to avoid her, but inevitably, our paths cross, and the tension between us is palpable. She pretends like nothing happened, as if our lives haven't been turned upside down, and that just hurts me more. How can she move on so easily while I'm stuck in this cycle of sadness and doubt? On the rare occasions when our eyes meet, there's an emptiness in her eyes, something that wasn't there before. It makes me wonder if she feels guilty for what she did, if she ever regretted it, or if she simply doesn't care. These questions circle my mind constantly, pulling my focus away from other important things, like my studies and extracurricular activities. I used to be so excited to participate in clubs and events at school, but now, even those things have lost some of their shine. The joy I felt being surrounded by friends and being part of something bigger has been replaced by a sense of loneliness and insecurity. The trust one had in Anna is gone, and I'm starting to wonder if I'll ever be able to trust someone the same way again. Her betrayal left a deep mark on me, a scar that I don't know if it will ever fade. Before this, I believed our friendship was unbreakable, something that would last forever. We promised each other that nothing would ever come between us, that we would always be honest and loyal. But now, that promise seems empty, broken into pieces that I don't know if can be repaired. Trust is something fragile, something that takes time to build, but can be destroyed in an instant. And that's exactly what happened. I feel like, by opening up to Anna, I shared parts of myself that were vulnerable, and she used that against me. It made me realize how risky it is to trust someone because you never know if that person values your trust as much as you value theirs. It's a scary thought, one that makes me question all my other friendships. Can I really trust someone again, knowing I could be betrayed again? Will I be able to open my heart and allow myself to be vulnerable with someone else? Now, when new people come into my life, I feel myself withdrawing, protecting myself from getting hurt again. I try to be more cautious, avoiding sharing things that I would have said without thinking twice before. But this caution also comes at a price. I feel isolated, like I'm distancing myself from the people around me, out of fear that they too might hurt me. It makes me wonder if the friendship Anna and I had was really as strong as I thought, or if I was just fooling myself, believing in something that wasn't real. Going through this experience made me realize how important it is to choose carefully the people I trust, but at the same time, it has left me feeling insecure and suspicious, something I wasn't before. Before all of this, I was optimistic, believing that the people around me were good and that we could build strong bonds based on trust and mutual respect. Now, I feel like that view of the world has been shaken, and I'm trying to figure out how to rebuild myself from it. I find myself wondering what life would be like if I could go back in time and do things differently. If I had paid more attention, could I have avoided this pain? Or was it inevitable, something I would have had to face one way or another? These thoughts are exhausting and leave me even more confused. It's like I'm stuck in a cycle of what-ifs, unable to find a way out. I try to remind myself that I can't control the actions of others, only my own, but even knowing this, it's hard to accept that someone I loved and trusted so much could hurt me in this way. I know that eventually, I'll get over this, but right now, it feels like this pain will last forever. I'm afraid that this experience will make me bitter, that I'll lose the ability to trust and love fully. I don't want that to happen, but I also don't know how to prevent it. I've been trying to focus on myself, on my own happiness and well-being. I've started practicing new hobbies, spending more time with my family, and dedicating myself more to my studies. But even with these distractions, the pain is still there, a constant presence in my life. Some nights, when I'm lying in bed, I relive everything all over again, and the tears fall before I can stop them. It's a grieving process, I suppose. Grieving for a friendship I thought was real, for a connection that's now gone. But, as difficult as it is, I know I need to move on. I need to find a way to rebuild my trust, both in others and in myself. I know it will take time, and there will likely be moments when I feel weak and vulnerable again, but I believe that eventually, I'll get through this. I may not be the same person I was before, but I hope that in the end, I'll come out of this stronger and wiser. I've learned to appreciate the friendships I do have more, the ones that have shown me unconditional support during this difficult time. There are people in my life who have proven to be true friends, who have listened to me and helped me cope with this pain. And as much as it still hurts, knowing that I can count on these people gives me hope. I know I'm not alone, and that even though one friendship ended in a painful way, there is still room for new connections and new experiences. So, I'll keep trying. I'll keep striving to be the best version of myself, to find happiness and peace, even if it's a slow and painful process. I know that eventually, I'll look back and see this situation as a lesson, something that helped me grow and understand the world around me better. And over time, I hope the pain will lessen and the scars it left will become just a distant memory of a difficult but important chapter in my life. Now, I'd like to know your opinion. What would you do in my place? Have you ever gone through something similar? How did you overcome it? I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts, your advice, or even your own stories. This is a tough time, and knowing that I'm not alone makes a big difference. Thank you so much for being here. Leave your comment and subscribe so I can share more of my diary with you.